Annoyed by any topic, no matter how microscopic. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. A choice maker, a mandate. You get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you, right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
And, Bald's got the COVID. I didn't speak to him. I was in the studio for the last few hours, but Chris did. Said he sounded rough on the phone. And he may chime in at some point, but I think he may be resting now. So we'll see. I spoke to Drew.
Uh-oh.
Drew
he gives him 6 months?
No, 4 months.
Oh, shit.
Drew had lots of thoughts about things to do.
Great.
So he wanted to talk to
hear.
Bryan. So hopefully, he'll do that either on the air or off the air, but we'll see how that pans out. But
He texted me last night. Bryan likes to sort of booty call me, late, midnight. And he says, did you have body aches with the COVID? I said, yeah. And he goes, shit. And I was like, well, there's colds going around and stuff. And he's like, well, I'm going to take a rapid PCR test in the morning. And I was like, you know what? It could be anything. But it was COVID.
I talked to Drew about it. He said the Omicron. The Omicron thing had a sore throat attached to it.
Mine was brutal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 3 days.
Because I took a test because I had congestion.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I called Drew and he said, do you have a sore throat? And I said, no, zero sore throat. And he said, that's the thing that goes along with the Omicron, I guess. Although I don't, that was his experience.
I had a brutal sore throat and I had someone come by. He is a friend and he does testing for, they have like a COVID person on set now. So he came by and he goes, Gina, if you would have told me you had a sore throat, I could have saved myself a trip. That's you have it. But he did, and that was it. And then I had one day where my face hurt like crazy, and then that just went away. And I was basically fine after that, just contagious.
All right. Well, we'll keep you guys posted. But Bryan is presumably resting comfortably back at his place, and we'll see if he chimes in or Drew chimes in. I had a thought. Just one of those laying in bed thoughts, wee hours last night. Thought back to some of the funnest times I've had as a youth, and then and the most frustrating day and moment ever as a youth. And they're all attached to the same thing.
Can I guess?
Sure.
Watching the monster truck commercial, being told you're not going to the monster truck show.
They didn't really have the monster trucks when I was a kid.
What were they?
They had the events that I didn't get to go to.
Yeah.
So the circus would literally come to town.
Right.
That was off the table.
Right.
Cavalier. The Oprah says the most entertained she's ever been. Or was that Larry King? The point is I would sit home and watch commercials. Some were fairly innocuous, like second week at the Rose Bowl is the swap meet. It's like, well, definitely not going there.
That's off the table.
And there would be the car commercials with the Pete Ellis Dodge, that we're never going there, never buying a new car or a used car, not from a dealer. And then there would be the Super Bowl of motocross. That was a big one. Chris, you could probably find the Super Bowl of motocross, like 70s. It would come to the Coliseum.
Were they even allowed to call it the Super Bowl of motocross? I guess so.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
They called it the Super Bowl of motocross. Wow. And just to punctuate their point, it was held at the L.A. Coliseum. They would have Orange County International Raceways. We've gone over many times that the drag racers would come to town. They'd have the Winter Nationals or whatever. That'd be at OCR. They had the flat track motorcycles on the dirt track. That would come to Orange County International Fairgrounds or whatever it is.
The English Leather Girls.
Yeah, it was all there. And I would just sit and watch all of it via the commercial. I would never go to any of it, but one thing I did get is my buddy Chris, the guy whose dad looks like Jim Rockford. His dad had some bikes. And although his dad may have struggled with drugs and other substances and had a difficult marriage and lost a business or two,
The Rocky Files.
he still had a garage full of cool shit. And I would go over there and we'd go to the desert every once in a while, load up the transmission truck and go out to Aguadosy Canyon and go riding. But they had a little Honda Trail 50. Do you know what a Honda Trail 50 is? It's like the smallest little thing that Honda produced back in the day.
Oh, that's adorable.
They called them like the monkey bikes or something. And it was all like, maybe they called them the monkey bikes because in Lance Link Super Agent or something, the monkey, they would use them in all the like Saturday morning stupid guys in costumes riding in circles in fast motion on the little Honda Trail 50.
It kind of looks like the front looks like a souped up sort of tricycle, and the back looks like a little motorcycle dirt bike.
Yeah, it's a cross between a moped and a motorcycle, and it's little and whatever. And my buddy Chris had one.
Nice.
And,
oh shit!
And we'd cut loose on that thing in the neighborhood. Now, obviously, no helmets and no knee pads and no nothing. Just tearing through the neighborhood. But the thing was 50 cc's, barely enough to move, like 11, maybe 12. And one day, when there used to be vacant lots in the neighborhood, people grew up around a vacant lot.
Sure.
A vacant lot is where you would go to build a fort. It's where you'd go to build like a BMX jump.
Oh, yeah.
You could do like a mound of dirt and jump and then go into a berm on the other side. And it's also where you would, like, the guys who would sign up to deliver the green sheet newspaper would dump all the newspapers that they never delivered, then try to get paid by the green sheet. It became like a dumping ground.
Got it. If you're going to fight, like meet at the vacant lot.
You might fight there. You might fuck there.
Sure.
You might do a little honeycomb hideout. But, I mean, there was just
multi-purpose.
Just a vacant lot. Now, in Los Angeles, it gets built on like that now.
Or it's an encampment.
But there was a vacant lot right next to the freeway, right off of Colfax by Walter Reed, our junior high. And it rained good and hard for a couple of days. And we got this little Honda Trail 50, and we were just doing hot laps in the mud. And there's a point where the vacant lot, which was mud, spilled onto the sidewalk, which ran along the freeway. And you'd come out of the corner, and you'd be sliding through the mud, and then you'd hit the sidewalk, but the sidewalk was covered with mud. And you'd get up on it, and the rear end would fish out a little because it was sliding along the top of the sidewalk. And the wheel would be spinning a little, and you'd shift gears, and it'd kick out behind you. It was like, and it was like the coolest, greatest adrenaline.
Poncherelli.
Dump ever.
Yeah.
I was totally into it. And so we figured out that a guy named Scott Bowser had a Trail 50. He was like the older kid who grew out of his Trail 50. And his Trail 50, he lived 5 houses down, and he had this thing in his backyard. And he wanted $50, buck a cc. And I was going to wash cars and sell some BMX forks. I was going to do anything I could do to get that $50, to get Scott's Trail 50, which had a bald back tire, which was fine because it just led to more excitement when you're coming off of the mud onto the sidewalk now with no tread. But it also had a failed coil, magneto, spark, something was screwed up with it, and you'd have to bump start it, but not bump start it in a traditional way. Bump starting a car is get it rolling, jump in. I probably have bump started a vehicle, meaning a motorcycle or a car, probably if you added it up from here to San Francisco. Like I've had pickup trucks with bad starters. You have to get a run, jump in, pop it in second. Like
that's a thing of the past.
Imagine just pushing your own truck down the street.
No.
You got to get enough momentum so that when you jump in, you're still rolling.
Right.
And then you pop it into second or sometimes first and blah.
Very famous scene in Karate Kid. Remember when he goes to pick her up for the date? Pop it, pop it!
Oh, you have Super Bowl motocross from '84. Well,
Yeah.
it's not the '70s, but that'll
Couldn't find
work.
the 70s, yeah, but this is at the Rose Bowl.
Oh, the Rose Bowl.
Motorized Mayhem blasts the Rose Bowl Saturday, June 2nd, one night only. The Miller High Life Super Bowl of Motocross screams in with radical team warfare. Every factory pro, like 83
He takes
champion
some
David
hits.
Bailey, Brock Glover, Johnny O'Mara, Bob Hurricane Hanna, and 60 others going bonsai for the $750,000 Wrangler Supercross Series. This year's track is the fastest ever battlefield with rad jumps, jet ramps through the stands, plus the Coca-Cola Catapult. Supercross this Saturday night at the Rose Bowl. Great seats now at Ticketron and Super Shots. Be there.
So my Super Bowl was when the Super Bowl motocross commercial would start showing up because I'd get like 2.5 weeks of run
Right.
on it. They're
Sure.
playing the Super Bowl motocross commercial. That was as close as I was getting, but it was still exciting just to watch the commercial.
I get that. Also, no irony in showing the first 90% of the commercial just people just eating shit.
They know their audience.
Okay.
They didn't come there to see success or victory.
Okay.
They want to see guys eat shit.
Literally get rolled over by their own bike.
That's what they went to see.
Okay.
Yeah, so they must have went from the Coliseum,
Yeah, the
the Rose
first one
Bowl.
was at the Coliseum in '72.
and that went on for a Bob Hurricane Hanna, man. That guy flew. So I got myself a Trail 50.
You got it.
I got it, but in order to start it, you couldn't just run next to it. So the car, you push, you jump in, you drop it in second. The scooter, motorbike, dirt bike, you push, you jump on it, you drop it in second. But this one would go like, "Ugh." This one, literally, you need to keep it in second or third gear and just push it for like 9 blocks,
Oy.
just to keep turning it, just keep turning it. And at some point, we'd hook up a tow rope to the other one, and he just dragged me like, and at some point after 8 blocks, it would catch.
Right.
It would catch.
I don't think I'd pay $50 for that now.
So I never was able to fix it. It's like, oh God, it's so those who have the dads with the tools,
Right. Wrench
and
on
the
it.
wherewithal and the mindset and whatever. You know, look, somebody could have went down to the North Hollywood Honda dealership. The guy would have told you it's a fried diode. It cost $18, and we would have fixed it. But that was off
No.
the table. No one was going to do it. I didn't know anybody who could do it. I didn't own a tool. So we just kind of went with it.
You got towed around the neighborhood.
And eventually we'd fire up, and then eventually we would all go hauling ass. Chris was on his, I was on mine. At some point, Ray got a moped, and Ray would be chasing us on the moped.
Course.
And we just go, we would literally, there's one of those tunnels that goes under the freeway here,
Oh, yeah.
that weird,
terrifying.
scary,
Yep.
scary tunnel.
Yep.
It's got the steel post in the middle of it, so you can't drive a golf cart through it or something.
Right.
I don't know what they're scared you're
Yeah.
going to do, but you couldn't get a car through it.
No.
So I don't know what the post is there for. But at some point, we just go flying through one of those tunnels and just go shooting out on the street. No helmet, no shirt. It's like any car could have been going. And there's no stop sign. There's no intersection. It's just a tunnel. Flume, just sailing out in the street, dodged a post. You'd have someone on the back half the time, so their knee would just miss the post as the first guy, as the guy who's steering just slid past it, but you're in the back and your knee's hanging
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
just boom, sliding out in the street. So I got that, and what ended up happening, and this is going to get to the worst part, what ended up happening is the sprocket, the rear sprocket, chain driven, like a bicycle. Sprocket on the back started getting loose.
Oh, boy.
The sprocket screwed into this aluminum hub, and the screws got stripped out. I told Chris, get a schematic
Thank
of
you.
it. It's a little hard for Gina's uninformed eyes
It's
to
true.
make a decision on. But the sprocket screws into the aluminum part
It's
of
all
the
numbered,
hub.
yeah.
And my hub started cracking and breaking. The screws kept falling out and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't have, okay, you would have had to take the whole thing apart. You take the hub. If I did it now, if this was sunny, I'd take the goddamn hub out. I'd take it over to Sean. Sean would get his Healy arc out, and he would repair the aluminum on the hub, and then you would take a tap and die, and you would re-tap the threads
Okay.
into where the sprocket screwed in.
Problem solved.
It would have been. But I didn't have any of that. I didn't know any of that. So all I could do was drill all the way through and put a nut and a bolt, a long nut and a bolt, anything to hold the sprocket on. But it would keep getting loose, and it would keep breaking off the screws. And I kept battling with it, and I kept battling with it, and it kept breaking, and I wasn't good enough. I didn't have the tools. I kind of would go all the way through it with a screw and put a nut and a bolt and a lock washer on it, but eventually the torque of the sprocket would break the heads off the nut and the bolt.
Chris's dad was of no service?
That's the thing about Big Rick, you know. He just wasn't consistent.
Okay. You kind of made that clear. I get it.
Then my dad was a wash, and
Your dad was consistent.
well, what you hope for is either you get the dad who can fix it, or the dad who has I was going to say enough money, but it wasn't really about it. You have to go down to the Honda dealership.
Yeah.
You'd order the hub part.
Yeah.
It'd be $26, and you'd fix it.
The will
But
to do
you
it.
had to have one or the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
We didn't have the will or the skill.
Right.
The will and no skill. That's the Jim Carolla story. So I kept trying to fix it, and at a certain point, I figured out that if I got case-hardened bolts, case-hardened are the ones that are dipped in oil, red hot, dipped in oil. It's much harder, stronger. I needed case-hardened bolts that wouldn't shear off.
Right.
Stronger, that wouldn't break. And I took the whole thing apart, and I just took the hub out, and I took the sprocket, and I thought, I'll get the case-hardened bolts, and I got them. I'll put the nut on it, but the nut always comes loose. So I'll weld the end of the nut onto the bolt, and it'll never come loose, and I'll have a case-hardened screw, and that will solve this problem. And this will never happen again. I took the whole thing apart, and I had the hub, and I had the sprocket, and I put it together, but I didn't know anyone who welded or had a welder. So I went.
You didn't ask before you took everything apart?
I was doing it. I was compartmentalized.
Okay.
So I went to, if you can believe it or not, like NoHo, Lancashire area back in the day. Found a muffler shop. Had no money, but I remember asking the guy if I got him a 6-pack of root beer, if he would just weld the nuts on top so this thing could never come loose, and this was my permanent fix for this problem, and I was never going to be plagued by it again, and I could go out and ride. And the guy said, okay. And sure enough, he welded them up, and he did a nice job, and I gave him his root beer, and I felt pretty good about myself.
Yeah.
And then I came home, and the hub is wide on one side where there's a drum brake mechanism, and then it gets thin, and then I put the sprocket on it, and I weld the whole thing up. So the thing looked like a dumbbell, essentially. And one side is where the brake went, the other side's where the sprocket was, and there's the thin part in between. And I was really pumped. Like, I was really like, I have solved this problem, and I was doing these temp fixes and these temp fixes and these temp fixes, and this fixed it for good.
Yep.
For good. And then it was time to reassemble it. And the rim comes in 2 pieces with a small hole in the middle of each hoop. And it dawned on me that you have to thread it through the hole and then put the sprocket on. If you put the sprocket on first, you can look at the schematic, but the thing's got to go through the hole in the rim and then the sprocket. And
I've put together IKEA furniture. I know what you mean.
The sprocket was now welded on perfectly.
Yep. But to what end?
It was that moment of like, I held up one part of the rim, and I was like, and then I grabbed and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I was so demoralized. Now, of course, not that Sonny would ever engage in this tomfoolery, but if in fact he did, then I'd just be like, that sucks. Give me that. And then I'd get my right angle grinder with my carborundum wheel, and I'd just buzz off the heads, and then I'd just redo it.
But you didn't have enough for another 6-pack of root beer.
No, and I just looked at it, and I was just defeated, and now I was going to have to hacksaw off my case-hardened bolts that I had welded on. And I remember going, this is going to be a long fucking life. This is it. Think this is it. This is the worst.
Probably thinking you could use a root beer right about
I could
now.
use a cold one about now. Something to take the edge off. Yeah.
Oh, my
Ironically,
God.
Dad's was probably the brand.
Oh, that's right.
Sad. Yeah.
It's the
And I remember,
replacement.
that is the worst feeling I've ever had in my entire life.
How old were you ish?
11 and a half,
Okay.
maybe 12.
I don't want to pile on, but this is a sad story in general. But actually picturing not you, the grown man, but the child, the 11-year-old child trying to figure this out on his own, finding a muffler shop, doing some shady negotiations, coming back and having your heart fucking broken in half is very hard to hear.
The tough part, the worst part about when you come from a family like I came from is what my son or my daughter would do is they would just burst into my office.
Dad,
they would
fix it.
throw it down
Yeah.
at my feet and
Yeah.
go, it's fucked up, fix it.
Yeah.
And then they would leave.
Yeah.
I knew it's like,
Buzz me when it's done.
My mom, my dad, I was like, oh, God damn, this is never going to work. And I think that was the end of me and the mini bike. So got some good times, had some good times with it.
That was
but had some tough times too. That's
So
my
there is-
rosebud.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I just want to be clear that there is no happy ending to this story.
No, I do not. I remember
Okay.
being defeated and destroyed, and I don't remember anything after that. But at some point, I probably just moved on to a skateboard or something. Now, the good news is I probably would have been killed on that thing eventually because we just
No,
go
you're right.
all through the neighborhood on
You would
that
have been
thing.
decapitated. Defeated and destroyed got you back to 0.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, there's an Amazon commercial. It's funny. I was talking to Dr. Drew about it. They've been running it a lot, maybe during football, or just a lot. I don't know if you've seen it, where Napoleon wants to do stand-up comedy.
No.
It's a couple. You seen this one, Dawson?
Yeah, several times. It bothers me.
I
There's
wanna
a
see
couple
this.
things going on with this. So it's Napoleon, and it's the story of Napoleon, and he's out, on the battlefield, and he's, bivouacking with his tent and his generals, and
So far, the premise is weird.
And raised to conquer. But he was just kind of over it, Watching Prime Video, he realised he should follow his dreams.
Marvelous Miss Maisel.
So he ordered a microphone with Prime next day delivery. Now the only thing he cared about conquering was his audience.
Tout le monde peut me voir derrière.
Can everyone in the back
Ok,
see
je
me?
me lève.
Okay, I'll stand up.
Okay.
Prime changes everything.
All right. So there's a couple
Okay.
things going on. One is Napoleon's supposed to be short in this commercial
Yeah.
because he climbs onto an undersized daybed, which makes him look like Tom Hanks when he became a man in that movie, climbing into
big.
a race car bed. Like,
Right.
Why did they get Napoleon an undersized daybed, which looks like his feet are hanging out of?
Yeah, he looks at least average sized.
He's like, this is like Kevin Nealon as Napoleon.
Right, right.
Why are you doing this? He makes a joke about being short because
Right.
it's Napoleon. Why is he getting into a bed where his feet are hitting the footboard and his head is up against the headboard? Now,
Yeah.
it's kind of a daybed sofa thing, but why is he dwarfing it? Why is it, if the idea it's Napoleon, then have him swim in it a little
Right.
bit.
And one would say, well, maybe the set designer won out. And it's like, well, this is the time of the commercial you picked to be factually accurate. He's doing stand up.
He looks like he packed himself in his bed. So he
Yeah.
doesn't look short. And then he goes to the microphone to do stand up, and the mic's down low and the mic's turned up, almost up, straight up and down. Why isn't the mic up and facing down? Why isn't he?
Yeah.
And then he does a short joke. Why aren't we making him short? I mean, the mic stand could make him short alone, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
If it was tilting down instead of up.
And the mic, as a man,
Yeah.
well, as I always say, that's my office, the stage. I'm going to work. You guys go to your cubicle. You go to the factory. I go to the office. That's the stage. That's my office.
That's where you punch in.
That mic stand, you never have the mic almost vertical. It's like tilted over at 45 or something. So the mic stand is even lower than it would be if it was just a regular sized person doing stand, which doesn't. So you got the miniature bed, and then you got the mic stand down. Pull the mic up, stand up 6 inches, and tilt the mic down. That says short guy.
Right.
We've all known the joke when, Norm Macdonald would do a set and then Patton Oswalt would come in after him and like, oh boy, get the mic.
Yeah, gotta adjust that.
Right. So do that.
Yeah, this is all on the predicate that we all know that Napoleon's short, and they have to do nothing to prove it to us.
But he's
at NAPO's.
How tall is this actor, Chris? All right, so I don't know. Now the joke is weird to me because the joke feels like his Napoleon wasn't really short. I don't know. Dawson?
Napoleon?
Thoughts?
Yes. Well, Napoleon was 5'6".
All right. What'd you figure out, Dawson?
Well, I actually think, I believe that I've heard on a history podcast that compared to the average height of the time, Napoleon was just average.
Yeah, 5'6".
Yeah.
But they're making a short joke.
It's the joke that bothers me. It's not funny.
Yeah, well.
Well, George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, those were 7-foot tall men.
And
so the joke still stands.
And you're tired of conquering the world. Get on the couch, turn on Amazon, watch a comedian, and then that's your dream.
It's a weird premise, but this is not what Dr. Drew noticed about this commercial.
Well, but it's like you say, be anything but confusing. If they did what you said, okay, I get the joke, and then I can decide if it's clever or funny.
They put him in a miniature bed. They put him in a cat bed.
Yeah. And then
they put him on a stage where he's 5 feet above everybody else.
We see the heads of everyone else. And speaking of everyone else, Dr. Drew noticed this about this commercial, his generals.
Yeah, that's the...
That's what you noticed, Dawson?
Well, in the back, dudes are on horses. And he asks, can you see me in the back? And all the people in the back are on horses. They're 4 feet above everyone else.
Well, that's not what Drew drilled down on. The general that's front and center is black.
Oh, look at that.
Black general. Napoleon has half his army's black, or a quarter of it is black. So he has a black general. I mean, what looks like his lead lieutenants.
The best hat.
The guys who get to put the horse in the mosh pit, the guys who get up front, the guy with the biggest hat is a black man.
Yeah.
I get it. We got to go with diversity, but I don't know. Napoleon's army.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Are you leading me down even further down this path to say, if they made fun outright of Napoleon's size, there would be blowback on this commercial?
I don't know.
Like if they over exaggerated that he was small, then it's like, then don't pick Napoleon. Do something else.
I just want to know. Now, here's the controversy, Dawson and Gina.
Yeah.
The lead guy in the audience, the lead general, is a 64-year-old black man.
Does not look amused.
I haven't studied the history books, but I bet this guy didn't exist. But, okay. There's a couple of black faces in the army, in the crowd. The guy to the left of this guy, I said, isn't that guy a black guy too? And then Chris said, no way. And I said, sort of? And he said, no way. And I said, I can't tell. I'm wondering if there's going to be a new category of actor. I mean, where you just go, look, whatever you want this person to be, that's what they'll be. We have plausible deniability.
It's called ethnic ambiguity, and they use it all the time.
They do.
Absolutely.
What is the guy next to that guy? Is he black? Is he white?
I think he's a white guy. Hard to tell. He has a real Whoville facial hair situation.
I can't say that he's black, but I can't say that he's white. I don't know.
It's very ambiguous.
Chris is 100% white, but I'm
more than that. There's no way you can convince me that that guy's not white.
Why?
Look at him. The color. I think this maybe the TV screen you're looking at might be a little darker in shade,
But
but
we're also farther away.
We looked
They're
on your
also
computer.
inner.
on my
I
computer,
couldn't tell.
there was
There
no
appears
question.
to be a shadow from his hat over his face as well. If
What
you
is-
see, there's a piece of a pie that's white, that's mostly his beard. There is a little patch of skin there, and if you could zoom in on that, that skin might be pink.
His features look blackish, but I can't tell. I don't know how you can be so resolute. That's what I'm saying, Chris. I'm not ruling.
I rarely am resolute
about somebody's whiteness.
about anything really, but this one, yeah,
I can't. I am. This is confounding to
I've
me.
seen
I
a
would
lot
have,
of white people.
I have no idea if this guy's black or white, but he looks. I would have him in what's your category, Gina?
Ethnically ambiguous.
Somewhere in between. But the lead general's a black man.
We can all agree on that.
So I was talking to Drew, and he's like, "You see that commercial?" And I was like, "Yeah. What about the size of that goddamn bed?" And he's like, "Size of the bed? What about the black guy in the war?" I'm like,
Front and center.
and I'm like, "That's what old people do.
Yeah.
We
That's
get on
a very-
the phone and we complain about the same commercial, and we attack it from different angles."
It's very old man yells at cloud.
Yes. Thank you very much. All right. Let's see. Bryan, is going to call in, and Drew's going to be on there too,
good.
talking about therapeutics as well.
I think we can all benefit from this.
First, we'll tell you about Start Mail. Free email is, like Gmail and Yahoo. They're not really free. You pay with your privacy. Big tech exploits your data by selling it to the highest bidder. This is the new world order we're living in, people. By the way, when is anything free? Your information, that's what they got. Ask Andrew Yang. Start Mail keeps email private, period. Every email can be encrypted, even if the recipient doesn't use encryption. And when you delete an email in Start Mail, it's gone forever. Start Mail uses their own servers, not Amazon's. Switching is seamless. Easily transfer all your current email data and protect yourself with unlimited anonymous aliases, backed by the most stringent privacy laws in the world. It's Start Mail, right, Dawson?
Start securing your email privacy with Start Mail. Sign up today and you'll get 50% off your first year. Go to startmail.com/ACS. That's start with a T. For two of them, START, mail.com/ACS. For 50% off your first year, startmail.com/ACS.
All right, we'll get an update from Bald Bryan and Dr. Drew right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Adam, Carolla. Adam, it's Max in Columbus. We got about 6 inches of snow last night. So I'm driving to my doctor's appointment, and I'm behind a car who didn't take the time to brush off his back window. When I go to pass him, he's in the car by himself wearing a mask. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Well, Dr. Drew is with us. Bald Bryan, I'm going to pot up in a second. Bry's got the COVID, and Drew's got thoughts about treatments and therapeutics. So let's first check in. Drew, you got me, right?
I got you. You got me?
Yeah, we just went over your Amazon Napoleon commercial, by the way.
My what?
Amazon Napoleon commercial.
Oh, yes. I'd forgotten that was even an Amazon commercial. Was I right?
Black general. A little controversy about the guy flanking him. We're still not sure what color he was.
I just had my wife settled that for me. I just said, "What do you think of this guy?" And she said, "No, he's African American." That's it.
All right. Now to the matter at hand. Bald Bryan. Bryan.
Buddy.
Hey, how you feeling?
I'm still here.
So, what do you got? What's the symptoms?
So I didn't, it's funny, I was at the show yesterday and I felt fine. And it was only when I got home, those couple hours before, like dinner time, bedtime, started to feel really achy, like body aches all over, and especially localized in my back. And I was doing some research, obviously, I was a little alarmed, and it's like, oh yeah, Omicron symptoms are often manifested as like back pain. And then I had weird, like pinching back pain. And then it became this overwhelming fatigue. I had to go to bed at like 8 o'clock. a little sore. I wouldn't even call it a sore throat. I'd call it like a tender throat. Like, just tender, like it was swollen. And at that point, I made one of those same day tests for 8 a.m. this morning, and I got the results in just a couple of hours. And it said it doesn't say positive; it says detected.
Yeah, same thing, right?
Is that what that means, Drew?
PCR test.
Yes, the virus is detected. Positive test.
So therapeutic. So what are you doing? What are you doing right now, Bryan?
I'm resting. I'm really fatigued, and you guys, Drew, you know how it is when you have the low white blood cell count. You're just tired all the time, and this is COVID on top of that. So I'm pretty wiped out. I'm in bed. I probably look like Cameron from Ferris Bueller. Talking to Ferris. I'm lying in bed with my phone in my chest, talking to you guys.
What do you suggest, Drew?
So. Yeah, Bryan, I mean, there's so much good therapeutics now, and with your underlying stuff, has your doctor suggested anything?
Drew, I'll blow your cover, Drew. Drew was kind enough to text me out of the blue a little while ago and said, heard about, or not text me, sorry, you left a voicemail, and I forwarded it to my oncologist, who is my de facto primary care physician. He's the only doctor I see, and he called me back and he's like, unfortunately, you don't qualify. And I'm like, why? He's like, well, body mass index mainly. He's like, you're too light and you're not immunosuppressed enough. So I'm caught in the middle.
Wow. Yeah, the criteria are online and the criteria are draconian and weird. But he is right. That doesn't mean... I don't know. You're not old enough. You're not heavy enough. Your PO2 is not down enough. But one of the things I've been trying desperately to get Paxlovid for my patients, and I cannot get it. And one of the horrible things is sometimes when a patient's getting bad fast, and you still can't get it.
Yeah, Drew, you reminded me. My doctor was like, I'm not technically a primary care physician, so I can't even prescribe it. I'd have to, they don't let oncologists, for some reason, to prescribe it.
It is a shit show, especially in California, to get access not just to these antivirals. There are two excellent drugs out there, Paxlovid and Molnupiravir, and the monoclonal antibodies. The criteria are essentially the same for both, which is also stupid. They have, even if you could meet criteria, they have distributed these antivirals to community health centers, not even to pharmacies. So I had one patient find Paxlovid an hour outside of Sacramento for his mother who met all the criteria, and she was better the next day.
Oy.
And this kills me. Should not be this way. So talk about Project Warp Speed. They should be distributing. This should be in our pockets. This medication. Why it isn't? It should be. It's a scandal. It's a scandal to me. And I am so sorry. To me, that's shocking, Bryan. But I still would try. Do you not have a primary care person?
I don't. I have only seen one doctor over the last 12 years. That's my oncologist.
Is there? I know there used to be a racial component to this as well. Is that still something that's going on?
I believe so. You get 2 extra bonuses if you come from a risk community. I think you have to meet like 5 points, 4 or 5 points. Last time I looked at this, I think it was 5. But you get 2 automatically if you're from a risk community.
Well, you can't fake black, but you could fake gay. Is that gotta get you something, right?
Gina, can I use your address?
Different. Yes, absolutely. Use my address. You'll come from an at-risk community.
Well,
so
yeah. What it seems to me, but Drew, you'll have a better answer. The therapeutics, it was always poo-pooed. It was poo-pooed by the news. It was poo-pooed by the government. It was just poo-pooed, like therapeutics. Like every time someone talked about therapeutics, someone called them a crackpot, and then we just talked about vaccinations. Is it a political thing? Like, what happened with therapeutics?
I don't see conspiracy. I just don't. You know what I mean? I don't like to fall to that. But it certainly is something that is not being emphasized. If you remember when I got COVID the first time a year ago, I got the monoclonal antibodies. And the first thing I did was got on Instagram Live and every outlet I could find and said, you people should know about this. And that should be public health strategy number one.
Right. Should
be educating people about how to use telemedicine, how to get monoclonal antibodies. They were free. They're free. The government already bought them.
But
Nope. Not. Think Barbara Ferrer got out there and started talking about this, Adam? You think she was talking about it? It was insane.
And that's
to me was the first scandal.
What I'm talking about is, Joe Rogan hit everything with his cocktail, and he was called a crackpot, and I wanted to take him off the internet. And it's like,
he's my lead story today.
Oh, good. What I'm saying is I'm not talking about Capricorn 1. It was an O.J. Simpson movie where they faked the moon landing. I'm not talking about like that kind of thing. I'm just talking about everyone wanted.
Well, Adam, let me interrupt you.
Yes,
it's public health is a bureaucracy.
I get it.
It cannot change.
How does that explain
direction?
But how's that explain CNN?
Oh, well,
CNN was against therapeutics from Jump Street. Why? Why are they against therapeutics? I mean, the whole thing is, I get it. You want to entice everyone to get vaccinated. But the problem is the vaccination isn't working. And now we're way behind on the therapeutics. Why wasn't the stance of society at large or the LA Times or anyone that just went, therapeutics? Yeah, talk to your doctor. Godspeed.
Let's think back. Well, first of all, all of this is bringing out the ridiculous disconnect between public health and the actual healthcare system. They are disconnected. Number one. Number two, if you remember, let's think back in time a year and a half ago. Therapeutics, unfortunately, he got behind some kind of not so very good therapeutics, but therapeutics was clearly the direction Trump was going.
Right.
So you have to be anti-Trump, right? If you're pro-therapeutic, you're pro-Trump. And
right, that was the
it.
problem. I mean, that was the problem with ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and
but that's the same.
To be fair, I'm not saying, hey, let's be clear, those medicines, I do not believe they work. There's had a big study in Duke right now for ivermectin to settle this once and for all. But compared to Paxlovid and Molnupiravir, compared to those medicines, those things don't work.
What I'm saying is a general mindset of therapeutics versus vaccinations.
Yeah.
And I think you're right.
Yep.
It's like CNN picked a lane
Trump is bleach.
And they just went.
Trump is bleach.
Right. They went, we're going with vaccinations, which is fine, back vaccinations with an open mind toward therapeutics, not Joe Rogan horse dewormer.
But giving people the option of therapeutics means, they'll just wait to get sick.
Right. I think that was the decision that was made. So can we catch up with these therapeutics?
There's a general that's a horrible attitude for public health officials today to take. That's a general position that you can't handle the truth, and we have to tell you what to do. That is a terrible position. They should be giving. This is where hesitancy comes from. They need to give all the information they have so people can understand the reasoning for the recommendations. Then they need to educate them about therapeutics as well, which are, we have a limited supply, for instance. So please get your vaccine. We don't want everyone rushing in here to get this thing.
So Bryan, you're boosted, right?
Oh, Bryan's not. He's gone.
Well, you guys were busy talking about therapeutics. I just downed a bottle of fish tank cleaner, so I'll see you by the end of the show.
It's supposed to be fish food.
Double vax.
And boosted. He was the first one boosted because he was the first one allowed to be boosted.
I'm triple vaxxed, not the booster per se, but I got it early as soon as they made the third shot available to immunocompromised people. And I'll just throw this out there, Drew, you can interpret this because I'm no doctor, but when I was talking to my oncologist, he said, about 25% of my patients have gotten COVID in the last few months, and they've all done well. They're all triple vaxxed like you. He was talking to me, obviously, and there hasn't even been a single hospitalization. So I'm confident and I'm optimistic, and I'm planning on.
So let me interrupt, Bryan. Yeah, correct. That is absolutely true. Although you will do slightly less well, possibly, than many triple vaxxed patients, I can tell you Omicron for the triple vaxxed has been, if particularly recently boosted, it's been a nothing. It really has been a. Now, the one thing you were saying, though, that Yeah, I mean, me too. Compared to Alpha, Jesus Christ, unvaxxed Alpha was a bear. But you did say something a couple things that concerned me a little bit. I don't know if you want to talk to your doctor about it, but a prominent feature of Omicron is sore throat. And you're saying your sore throat is really not that big a deal. And the fatigue and the back pain goes with all COVID, but especially Delta really is a wipeout. A lot of pain and that kind of thing. I've seen Omicron do exactly that, but that's only been in the double vaxxed. And to be fair, as an immune compromised person, maybe that's why you're getting a different version of it.
You hear that, Gina? Get your black dress ready.
Well, I was going to say take this time to relax and watch a movie during the day, but that's what you do anyway.
Yeah, he's on the clock.
This will be another normal day. I'm taking Tessa and Christy are hightailing it out of here in about 10 minutes because they are negative and they have no symptoms, and so they're going to go kick it at the Orange County House. Away from me.
How long is that going to go down? Because my first question was, what about Tessa?
Yes.
But then I'm like, oh, wait, Bryan probably shouldn't be left alone.
Yeah.
I'll be fine alone. You guys can check on me periodically.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old's Tessa now?
5?
5, yeah.
She's double that.
Okay.
Oh, thank God you got somewhere to go. Or they have somewhere to go.
It's nice when you can go to your extra house.
Yeah.
It is
All right.
nice.
Well, we'll check back. Thank you for the words, Drew. And
Drew, thanks.
Men quickly, we'll be checking with you, Bryan.
Bryan, if you need anything, text me, all right?
Will do, buddy. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Take care.
See you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye, Guy. It's good to know Drew. It's good to have Mark Garagos and Dr. Drew in your life.
Lucky man.
Yeah.
I'll never forget, this was years ago, maybe right when I started, or maybe I was on filling in, and I made some joke about taking a Klonopin, which is like a Xanax, and somebody tweeted me and tagged Dr. Drew saying, hey, Gina, does Dr. Drew know about your pill dependency? And I was like, okay, whatever. 10 seconds later, I get a phone call. Hey, Gina, Dr. Drew, just checking in. What is he how you're doing? I was like, I am flattered. I don't want to overcompensate, but I think that was a joke, but I am so touched that you called.
He cares.
He really does.
All right, let's see. And that's why it always drives me nuts when he gets beat up in the press over something.
It's insane.
He's
the best.
It's such a weird world. And yes, I could do a half hour on therapeutics and why we decided it was a bad idea. The thing that's interesting, and we'll get to your Joe Rogan thing.
Oh yeah, no, I have it. It's
I had this thought, which is, I'm interested in how you hang around long enough, you'll see different sides arguing for different things that are 180 degrees off of what they used to argue for. So I always talk about it with Mark Garagos. You have the Democrats talking about these FBI, CIA, these guys are heroes. And then you have the Republicans going, don't listen to these guys, which my whole life it was the exact opposite. Right. I grew up in a progressive family. You didn't trust the CIA.
The man.
You didn't trust the FBI. And it's completely shifted the other way around. The other thing I was thinking about was this, somebody tweeted me this Neil Young bus thing, and I bet you have it. And it's like he wants his music off because he doesn't want to be on the same platform as Joe Rogan. And it's like, oh, that's the exact opposite of what that guy. But it's interesting how I know everything from growing up with my mom. Back in the day, my mom would have been squarely in the camp. She wouldn't have been an anti-vaxxer. She would have been all therapeutics.
Right.
It would have been like, first off, you can get a little eye of newt, and you
some
can get a
chamomile.
little whisker from a cat and some chamomile.
Right.
And there's herbs, and it's about sunshine.
Is it the right kind of honey? It might not be organic.
Right. It was all about the therapeutics, and then Big Pharma, that guy... These guys
they're trying to kill you.
They're trying to hammer checks. Is what they don't care if you live or die, but they're there to make money. So Big Pharma, bad. This thing occurs in nature.
Yes.
Natural immunity.
Yes.
That's going to solve everything. Grandma knew best. Now, those people are all about get the jab, and the Republicans are all about natural immunity, who are not natural. They all got fake hips. Like, they're not about natural, fake tits and fake hips. That's the GOP. It's interesting how the natural therapeutic folks don't give a fuck. They're the ones arguing against natural immunity and about big pharma, and then you got the folks with the old glory on the lapel arguing over being a champion for natural immunity. So you hang around, you'll see it all turn over. All right, someone's has some made-up football players' names, suggestions for things to do before I die. Oh. Always interested. All right. John, 41, Wisconsin.
How you doing?
Hi, Guy.
Hi, Guy.
You got some football
Good
player names?
Yeah, well, you've got your list. You've got Librarian Booker and DeVigorous Lover and all those guys.
Yeah.
And I had a few to run by you. I got a quarterback for you.
Yeah.
The long toss.
The long toss. That's good.
I got a running back for you. He's not the best in the league, but if you need a good backup, he's all right. He's DeMarcus Short.
DeMarcus Short.
DeMarcus Short.
Wow, that is good. You better write these down, Max Zapata.
Got a wide receiver for you, Darren Gahn.
Wait a minute. Let's say it again.
Darren Gahn.
Darren
Oh,
Gahn.
Darren Gahn. Oh, Gahn. I thought you said Gun. Okay, right.
How about a field goal kicker, Trey Points?
Trey Points. Good, man. 3 points.
I got a lineman here for you. He's got a little bit of notoriety in the locker room. His name's DeLong Johnson.
It's good.
I like the setup.
And then I noticed a lack of diversity on your team, so I got one white guy for you. He's Jewish. He's got some moves. His name's Shlomo Replay.
Oh, that's good. Sign this guy up.
Oh, shit.
Glad you enjoyed.
Good.
Yeah. Now we have, what's my favorite one so far? It's the,
I like modular homes.
oh, modular homes.
That's a good one.
That's a strong one. Glendora Bevmo.
Yep, that's the one to beat.
And I don't want to correct you, but Feral Cats is of the Jewish. He's in the tribe.
There's already one.
Yeah, so there's another Shlomo in there. Thanks, John. Wonderful offerings.
Thank you.
We'll tweet them out. All right, let's talk to Christina, 44, Buffalo.
Christina.
I didn't pull her up.
Oh.
There it is. Yeah, we got you.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Hi, girl.
I have some suggestions, Adam, for your things to do before you die list.
Right.
That's one of my favorite things.
All right.
Okay, now that you live in Malibu part-time, how about this one? Befriend a dolphin.
Ooh, that's good.
You could, go for your morning cold soak with your buddy, come up with a fun name for him.
Yeah.
He always meets you there, like my octopus friend.
Yeah.
There you go. Push someone dressed in formal attire into a pool.
I think that's really more Ray's camp.
Yeah, it's a little Dynasty or Falcon Crest. I'm trying to think of the big...
Santa Barbara.
Cat fight at the end. Yeah, but I like that.
Have a landline telephone brought to your restaurant table with an important call.
Oh.
That's on my list. I think I've had that where they plug it in.
Yep.
Okay.
That's good.
Yes, they have to plug it in. Throw a stick of dynamite away from you just before it explodes.
I like that. I don't know why. Gene, I was picturing like that move, like maybe you go out on a first date and you're trying to impress your date.
Yeah.
So they go like, excuse me, Mr. Carolla, phone call. And they come in and they plug the phone in.
Yep.
Which makes you seem like a high roller.
Yeah, they're going to the trouble.
But what if the phone call was like for a cable company and you owed them money?
Yeah,
and like,
creditor.
I gave you the $13.
It's a
How did you
repo guy.
find me at this restaurant?
You can't take my car.
You shut the cable. I'm just going to pull it off my neighbor's coax.
I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to go. Will you just tell him I left?
Like the first part would be cool with
Yeah.
the phone, but the conversation factors in as
It's
well.
a real dice roll.
Mm-hmm. Or the guy's talking about a coupon, a 2-for-1 at the car wash or something like that.
Or there's been like your mom died. It could get really somber.
Yeah, don't take that call.
Yeah.
Sorry, Christina.
Or it's the wrong number. It was for Adam Carolla.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
It's my uncle. Got another one, Christina?
Yeah. Tear up a document dramatically instead of signing it and outrage a bunch of people in suits.
That's good.
I think you've done that probably in front of Fondelier.
Probably.
And then the last one I have is faint and wake up to a beautiful nurse waving smelling salts under your nose.
Yeah. I don't know. Is that more of a... I feel like that's more of a chick move.
Fainting, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Not great. But I get it.
Thanks, Christina. Is it freezing over
Thank
there?
you. Have a good day.
All right.
And this will be a good time to remind everyone, because she brought up the dolphins, and I don't mean to be anti-dolphin, but they do rape people, and they do withhold food from female dolphins until
That's
they
the
get
new...
sex.
I got to tell you, dolphins had the greatest publicist. I grew up watching Flipper. There was Day of the Dolphin. It was a movie about dolphins.
I'm not familiar. That sounds like a horror movie.
It was a movie about dolphins who were trained to go under and like find Russian mines, sea mines.
They're heroes.
Right. And then I think it actually exists,
Oh,
or at
wow.
least they tried.
Well,
I mean, think about it.
I think that dolphin rape is probably underreported, but it does happen.
Well, it is the new thing now. Every time dolphins come up, somebody has to point that out to you.
Yeah, I think it's important.
All right, let's see. There's a couple more here. Let's talk to Steve, 39, Space Coast. Oh, Steve from Space Coast.
Ace man, get it on.
You're the photographer, right?
Right. Yeah. Hey, obviously everybody knows that when you come back from traveling, you always have stories to complain about from the airlines. And I was wondering if you've heard of this future business of Elon's that he's wanting to do. They've been developing Starship down in Texas, and one of his future intentions with it is to transport people anywhere in the world in within about 45, 50 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's up and out of the atmosphere, basically almost going into orbit, but then bringing themselves out of orbit to land wherever.
So we're not even talking about the Concorde. We're talking about going straight up and essentially straight down.
Out of the atmosphere, like you're going into orbit, just like the astronauts do. But instead of staying in orbit, they do a deorbit burn and bring you down. You know, say you want to go from New York to Japan, you can do that within 45 or 50 minutes, because it only takes 90 minutes to orbit the Earth. So anywhere, you know, you can go halfway around the Earth, depending on, you know, where it is. You know, that would determine which way you go.
What element is
get there?
The Earth coming, the spot coming to you versus you going to the spot?
A little, not much, because you know, you figure how much does the Earth rotate every hour?
Right.
Which isn't, you know, 1/24th,
Right.
I guess is what it would be.
Right. So an hour would only get you to San Francisco from L.A. or something.
Well, yeah, but the Earth rotates east to west.
No,
so,
it gets you, I don't know, Florida? I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But
I get what you're saying, though.
But listen, first off, I'm all in on Elon. Like, my whole thing is, I've seen what we can do with our bullet train. I don't want
Not
Gavin
finished.
Newsom doing anything. I want Elon doing everything. I'll be so much happier just to give him the money and let him go, let him profit, let him go to town, let him be the richest man on the planet times 1,000,000. I don't care. Let's do all this stuff. Like, literally, I grew up in L.A. They talk about a bullet train to Vegas. I was in high school. They were talking about a bullet train to Vegas. It just, nothing ever gets done. Let Elon do it all. Fine.
Can I be Chris Carolla about this?
Yes.
Why do we need to get to Japan in an hour? Do these people not have enough money with their own little toys and all their stuff? Who needs that?
Oh, man. She'll do that with, like, who needs 2 cars? Who
needs two front doors, Chris?
Tall guys, they get $1 million a day to take a ball and they just stand under the hoop and they just drop it in the hole and everyone applauds. Have you seen LeBron James play?
I don't know him. How could I know who that is?
Wait, did he just drop off?
No, I'm here.
Oh,
hey, and here's an added bonus.
Why did we take him off the screen?
I highlight it so you
Steve.
can see it, but if I press any button on my keyboard, it'll delete it. That's what happened.
Well, I'm good.
Accidentally.
Thank you for that help. Steve, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Well, an added bonus. It seems like something that would probably cost tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, but his plan, what he's pitched is that it'll cost about the same as any international flight.
What? How?
Yeah.
A rocket fuel
Yeah, that's
alone.
the beauty of a fully reusable rocket. That's the idea behind Starship, is that it's a fully reusable rocket, like an airplane.
I love
Amazing.
it. I love it, Steve.
Yeah.
Please keep us posted.
And I just want to add, because this was months and months ago, somebody, or maybe it was when I called in or something, somebody had mentioned, well, doesn't Elon blow up a bunch of rockets and all this stuff? It's not the rocket that's in operation, which would be your Falcon 9 or your Falcon Heavy. Starship is the one that you see videos of being blown up, but that's because it's a development program. They are expected to blow these things up while they are developing it.
Yeah, they want to stress test them.
Yeah, because the rest of us just want to be able to say, didn't it blow up? And then
Yeah.
walk away from the conversation.
It's a great...
Yeah, you never see on CNN the successes, because they have successfully launched them and landed them. Not very high, but they've launched and landed these things, but you only ever see the explosion videos.
Well, what a time we're living in. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's always I always think about that conversation with Mike August. Whenever we talk about going to Australia, he's like, well, you got to stay for 2 weeks. And then I'm like, why do you have to stay for 2 weeks? Why can't we stay for 1 week? And he's like, because it's a 15-hour flight. I go, look, I go to New York all the time. I'm in New York for 27 hours to turn around and come back. Or we go to Chicago for a day, just turn around and come back. So it's 2.5 times as long as the flight takes to get to New York.
Right. So we'll stay for 4 days.
You ever stay for a week? Well, you got to stay for 2. It's a 15-hour flight. I go,
Look.
yeah, but the flight is half a day, and then you stay for a week, and then you spend another half a day on you got to stay for 2 weeks.
As a lady of leisure, I respect where he's coming from. I'd love to stay for 2 weeks. But to shit on his point, I went to Rarotonga for less than a week, which is right outside of Australia. A week was plenty.
Yeah, week's enough.
It was fine.
All right, Fitzdog is here. Someone talks about Tom Brady cut his lip because he didn't have the right mouthpiece. Yeah.
I feel like we covered that.
We covered it. But thanks, Mike. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with the Fitzdog in studio right after this.
And now, Alcoa presents Definitely Not a Jew on the Adam Carolla Show. Dateline, Walhalla, South Carolina. A 25-year-old woman was caught driving drunk, but charged with public intoxication, not DUI, because her vehicle was a Power Wheels electric toy truck. Definitely not a Jew.
Fitzdog. I always thank the good people at Alcoa, now going on 16 years of sponsorship for that. So
Jeez.
Appreciate that.
Unbelievable.
Fitzsimmons, Greg Fitzsimmons has joined us. Got shows coming up. Syracuse, that'll be Friday and Saturday, Funny Bone, and then Comedy Off-Broadway, Lexington, Kentucky. That's February 24th, 26th. And then Omaha, Nebraska, The Waiting Room, February 27th. The tickets available. You just go to fitzdog.com. So we'll do some made-up movie, but it struck me as I was thinking about my story growing up with my Honda Trail 50, my little mini bike, and all the fun I had. I thought, I bet Fitzdog, we're of the same era where you had to make your own fun.
Yeah.
And the fun you made, it sort of it went from sort of was sort of misdemeanor stuff to full blown felony stuff. Like there was the pedestrian stuff was hop the fence, go to school on Saturday, get up on the roof. There was a hatch to the auditorium or something where you could like crawl down and get in the auditorium. Like there was
East Coast was throwing snowballs at cars from the bushes.
Right. There was that. But then I had guys who like hot wired tractors on construction sites and drove them down city streets and stuff. Like we had full blown outlaws, and then we had sort of your scamps.
I like that.
But
your rapscallions.
All the scamp stuff would have been really dealt with in a different way today. Like,
oh God, yeah.
A lot of vandalizing, a lot of brutalizing others. Like
there was
lot.
So much vandalism. That's all we did was vandalize. We vandalized the high school with spray paint, and we went there at night and we wrote mostly. I saved the article from the newspaper, and it's in my book.
It made the paper.
Oh no, we defaced the entire high school with spray paint. Wrote like marijuana leaves and narcs and, the Doors. Of course you make the Doors logo with the block
the
letters.
good stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And nothing racist, I'm proud to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were off your game.
Well, we had a black guy with us, so it kind of threw us a little
Inappropriate.
bit. Yeah, I wish Dwayne had stayed home that day. But no, there was just a lot of vandalism, smashing windows, and going into cars and stealing cassette tapes. That was big.
Yeah, there was a lot of breaking into. There was a lot of getting on top of stuff.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, we got to get up on the roof.
Right.
I don't know what was on the roof, but somehow something was on that roof.
The place to be. Was it also?
Well, it was the place you weren't supposed to be.
Right. Was it also a big deal to throw stuff into a pool?
Yes.
Because our pool was closed every summer because kids throwing shit in it.
We broke into a house and we took giant pots that were next to the pool, and we threw them in the pool, and we cracked the base of the pool, and a neighbor saw us, called the cops, and we got busted for it.
Oh, I mean, I hate to be an old lady, but as you should.
Yes.
I was thinking, as I was thinking about my mini bike story, that one day when it was just raining so hard and we were all just out on our BMX bikes and we were so soaked that we went to the condos on Colfax, and we just started jumping our BMX bikes off the diving board just into the pool, just fully dressed.
Into the water?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane.
Well, we would break into the Mulholland Club and go sick in that pool. I mean, those stories are legendary.
Right.
I mean, first off, half the time we'd break into the Mulholland Club, midnight on a Saturday night, we wouldn't break into it. We'd climb the fence and get to the pool, jacuzzi, the roof. We jump off the roof in the pool. But every once in a while, they had thrown a wedding or a party or something, and there'd be all these chafing dishes of like old food and stuff out there that they didn't clean up. And then it was a full beans war.
Yeah, right.
And it was just whatever was found. That was the whole point.
We had this fort in the woods, and we took 3 hostages for like 6 months. Mm-hmm. And we barely fed them, and we beat them. And
right.
It was. There might have been the R word. I'm not going to get deep into it because it's a cold case.
Yeah.
It's a cold case.
Yeah. Was it? Remember? How about just this feeling? If you guys can identify, walking into one of your friend's house's parents' bedroom.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
If you ever walked into that, the smell, head on a swivel, picture on the bureau, what's in the drawer, what's going on. I look like, if you ever see a squirrel like out in the open, that was my posture. There's no tree nearby. A van could hit me. That weird smell. See the old guy's watch would be like on the thing. They tell you, he's at work and mom heads at the super. But there was something, it was taboo.
Yep. God help you if you use their bathroom.
Weird bedspread. Always like a weird cover on the bed.
There's
weird
a pack
smell.
of cigarettes.
A pack of cigarettes. You could like sit on the bed, but you had to smooth it over. They'd see your butt mark. They'd trace it to you.
Right.
It's just the idea of being in someone else's, your friend's parents' bedroom.
Yeah.
That was the craziest no man's no man's land ever.
Mark Rossignol's dad had Playboys in his sock drawer, and I would go over his house. And we were pretty young. We were only like 11 or something, and I just remember me being way more interested in it than he was,
Right.
and he wanted to go play trucks or whatever, and I was like, no, let's get back to that Playboy. We got some unfinished business over there.
And it's interesting because everything was like wall-to-wall shag carpet, big bedspread comforters, and everyone smoked.
Yeah.
And they used copious amounts of like cologne and aqua velva, and they used skin bracer. It was like aftershave, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the wife was putting on the perfume, and you'd go into that bedroom, you got the lay of the land. Like,
oh yeah,
you could
like a
smell
dog.
what everyone was up to in that
Were you
place.
friends with Burt Reynolds' kids or something?
It sounded like round bed, rotating,
Right.
mirror on the ceiling,
Right.
Sunken bed.
Matt Helm. Yes, it was a weird time. Now, too much hardwood.
Yeah.
Not enough smoking.
Rustic barn.
People are doing their own musk. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
People had smells back then.
Yeah.
My parents met the 70s and they fell in love and they stuck with it to the end. The shag carpeting remained through the 80s and the 90s.
Wow.
What do you call that? That shade
The wood
of
paneling or
no, in the curtains. What do you call that weird pattern that people wear?
paisley?
Paisley.
Wow.
Paisley curtains with orange shag carpeting,
Wow.
a round love seat that had wheels on it. And my father smoked 3.5 packs a day. My mom smoked a pack a day. So
Wow.
we used to have to get new sofas and new curtains every few years because they became coated with nicotine. It smelled so bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your dad must have smoked on the air.
He smoked on the air. Yeah.
Because you can't smoke
No.
3.5 packs a day and have a 4-hour radio shift.
No, I worked it out. It's one cigarette every 12 minutes from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed.
Oh,
That's what
interesting.
3.5 packs a day is.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like a Billy Crystal play,
It is. That's right.
but a super negative, dark one.
600 cigarettes.
600 cigarettes.
Yeah.
Well, we're any other thoughts before we turn the page into a made-up movie about the crazy like we had the basic go to the reservoir, climb the fence, jump off the cliff.
Yeah.
Everything was loosely based on gravity. Like
Yeah.
you go up here, jump off of that, climb up that apartment, jump over into the pool. There's a pool. It's not the. Here's what you don't want your kid doing. You don't want your kid jumping off of roofs into pools, but you really don't want them jumping off of roofs into pools where the pool doesn't even go along with the roof they're jumping off of. This is one apartment building roof onto another property's pool.
Was nobody litigious in the 70s?
No.
This is huge.
You did your own thing. A lot of streaking.
There was a lot of
Oh,
striking.
yeah,
We used to skinny dip in the summers. We would break into the crust pool and we'd jump the fence. And it was really weird because, like, girls that you'd grown up with, that you'd known since you were like 5 years old, and
Yeah,
all of a sudden,
taking it off.
they hit puberty and they would take it off, and we would all skinny dip, and then sometimes we'd get hand jobs.
Really?
Yeah.
After the gals left? All right, coast is clear. Let me get the sock on my hand. You know the rules.
Thank God Sally left. She was really putting a damper on things.
My God.
Ruining the mood.
That bitch would never leave.
Jesus. You got nice hands, Jimmy.
Meaty.
All right, we have some titles up there. I will look, and I'll just start at the top. Maybe we'll head our way down here. Let's see.
In a world where
opening.
titles
Sorry.
are many and plots are few, one man can take your movie names and make them come to life.
What is going on?
Adam Carolla stars in Made Up Movie.
All right, Joe, 43, Seattle.
Hey, Adam, Gina. Hey, Fist Dog. Sorry,
Hey
I missed
now.
Bryan today. But so this is actually the latest in the series of movies based on bald Bryan catchphrases. Previous installments we've done a stirring tribute, oddly specific, and timely reference. This is a reboot of the series with an all-new title, On Brand.
Ooh.
All right.
I have a thought.
You have a thought?
Yeah, this is in the vein of an Idiocracy, that kind of movie. It's getting a little crazy out there, a little dystopian. Money is scarce, jobs are scarce. A young couple have, their whole future ahead of them. They get pregnant, and she's early 20s. They don't have any money. They don't know how they're going to raise this baby. So they come up with a plan. They're going to sell the baby's name to the highest bidder. Whatever brand, they'll stamp it on him, and that's his name. And they think that they hit pay dirt. This is a great idea. But, shit takes a turn. It goes awry.
Yeah, so now, early in Act 1, when they're struggling, before she finds out she's pregnant, he comes home with this scheme, and he's like, look, I know it sounds dumb, but if we wrap our Camry in a Tecate wrap, I can get $80 a month and additional 13 cents a mile if we change. And you're like, that's insane.
Yeah,
You're selling your soul. It's a tequila brand. You know what I mean? It's like, well,
we would never do that.
We got to make ends meet.
We're not those kind of people.
Right. And then, but later on, the idea starts to creep in.
And, the power's starting to get shut off. The water's not working right. The brown stuff coming out of the faucet. And guess what? She's knocked up.
So now, do we have this as like a Kevin Hart kind of comedy, feel-good comedy with some,
hijinks?
some hijinks?
I think you go Judd Apatow on this one. I think you get Timothy Chalamet, somebody hot and young.
I see that,
and you see him age, throughout the film.
Oh, we do it that way. Yeah.
But
so he's little Kellogg.
Yeah, it's Kellogg. Is that what we're going with? Yeah. So Kellogg comes in. The kid gets a neck tattoo, which is unusual on a baby.
Right. But that's part of the deal.
Special K. That's
little
his nickname.
Kellogg.
Yeah.
And then at some point, the news catches on. Things are going great. And yes, we've zoomed toward the future a little. And then he comes out as being sort of gender curious now. And now it's like the brand, are you kidding, will get dropped.
Right.
By Kellogg with this kind of bad publicity.
Yeah, you've backed us into a corner.
Right. Now there's controversy.
No, now they embrace it, and they change his name to Fruit Loops.
Well, we're not going to do better than that.
That's good.
I mean,
strong.
That's why Fitz Dog's here. All right, let me hit Pierce, 38, Mesa, Arizona.
Hey, what's up, Adam? What's up, everybody? I've been sitting on this title for a while, and I won't try to lead you in any direction with it, but here we go. Spick and span.
Oh, boy.
Spick and span. All right. All right, here it is.
Yeah.
I have a thought. It's sort of the germs of it, the ideas of it is, remember those crazy two black female Trump supporters like Silk and Lace or Diamond and Lace or something, and they were like, there was this novelty that two black women loved Trump.
And they're always front and center.
They would be front and center because, there's a Trump rally with 72,000 people, and they find the three black people.
Right.
They go, you stand right behind Trump.
In between him and him getting sworn in.
Right. Like we can make it look like we can fill this out, Were they Diamond and Lace or something?
Diamond and Silk.
Diamond and Silk.
Diamond and
right.
Silk.
All right. Well, in this case, one is Hispanic.
You don't say.
Really?
I'll just,
You
doesn't
taking that
matter
low-hanging fruit, huh?
No, I'm just trying to, I don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
Copyright. You know what I mean? I don't, this is, I'd say, well, either one could be Spick, could be Span.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter
Who's
to me.
to say?
Yeah.
One will be Hispanic, that'll be black, but it's the same two things. It's a couple of women. They're struggling. They're very left-wing. They're very progressive. Like, that's the very beginning, of them. The very beginning is a couple of white chicks have a taco truck, and they're out protesting. But they're getting nowhere. They can get no traction. They got a podcast that gets no listenerships or something, and they realize, wait a minute, here's where the money is. Instead of all the fakakta, left-wing, women's march shit, we'll zig when everyone else is zagging. We'll have the, sassy black woman and the sassy Latina chick, and we'll go full Trumpian, hard right. And next thing you know, they're popping up on Tucker Carlson. They're all over Fox News, they want them to speak at the convention and stuff. Now, the rest of the world,
Spick and C-SPAN.
C-SPAN,
Yeah.
that's right. And the rest of the group, like, they kind of know, like, when did you guys turn this? But they're hammering checks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Are
but
we
at some
talking-
point, they lose their soul. You know what I mean?
Right.
Powerful,
We're talking like
right?
a Tiffany Haddish and
Yes.
like a Eva Mendes, Salma Hayek. Who do you like?
I was going to say, I like a little heavier set, but then it'll allow fat chicks to act.
Gabori Sidibe, Precious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
that's good. That's
Somehow,
good.
yeah. If you're gonna have two women working at a
Is
food
it
truck,
Gabourey?
they're gonna.
Gabori, I think. Gabori Sidibe.
I thought it was Gabourey.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought it was
maybe.
Gabrielle.
Not to be confused with Kavanjane Wallace, which is one of my other favorite names.
Jesus Christ. Anyway,
If
she's
two
good.
chicks are running a food truck, they're gonna be thick. Let's
No,
not.
they're protesting the
Yeah.
food truck. That's Act One.
I
Because they're
thought they were
so
running the
hard
food
left.
truck.
No, they don't like the cultural
setup.
appropriation of the
White chicks doing a taco truck.
Right. So there's woke as woke can be, but there's broke. Right. From woke to broke.
There's the poof.
Is
There's the
the
movie
thing.
poster.
And now they're cashing.
Right.
Sean Hannity's calling. Trump, we do a cameo. You know what I mean? And all the bell of the ball. And they're making money, and there's book deals coming in, and they want to give them a Fox Saturday show and everything. But at some point, you know, the young daughter, because of the single mom who said, like, you taught me to protest. We went to every march and everything. And it's like they're counting their money, you know, and the phone's ringing
Right.
and everything. They have to have an awakening at some point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they have to go back to their roots.
Well, one
Right.
of them falls in love with Sean Penn.
Oh.
And they start to get back to their roots. They feel shamed by Sean Penn. There's a flood somewhere.
Well, I have Eva Mendes probably on
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, and you know what? I think I want to sub out Gabori Sidibe for Sherry Shepherd. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I still don't know what her name is. Is it Gabore?
That's Gabori Sidibe.
That was Gabourey.
I mean, I think
don't
it's
know.
spelled Gabori.
I think it's Gabrielle.
No, it's Gabori.
Thank
It's
you.
Gabori?
Yeah.
Jeez, I went to a wedding with her and talked to her for 2 hours.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
How embarrassing for you.
Well, I just did a lot of, that's why I call everyone dude.
Yeah, Chief.
Heavyset black women love when you're like, hey, dude.
What's up, dude?
All right, now how do we end this? I mean, what happens? We got the young child,
Yeah.
and she
She's
wants to know
gotten
what
inside their
happened.
head.
What happened to mom?
I think you got to blow it up in the middle of the interview on Fox. Right?
Mhm.
You gotta absolutely go AWOL.
Well, so that sorry, they've
and.
been offered
Yes,
their Saturday Fox slot right
Yes.
after Judge Jeanine, right?
Great. Yes.
And they have this whole big agenda, but they know they're living a lie, and then they do one of those moments where they go, "Can I get real here?"
Straight to camera.
Pull out part of their weave and set it down on the desk. And then we do that thing where Americans around the country are looking up at TV
Yep,
sets.
at the bar.
It's up on Times Square, right?
Right.
And they heal
Yes.
because they talk about who they were and who they are now.
Yeah.
And they keep it
There's a
real.
woman in a chair getting an abortion, and she looks up
Right.
and sees it.
Gives a
They put
thumbs
the
up.
setup at the
Yeah.
clinic, right?
Yeah.
You got to have the executive producer over at Fox like pull his thing out. And, God damn it!
Yeah,
throw it
yeah,
on the
that
ground.
guy storms off,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But then slow clap for the rest of America
Yes.
because they should have the Black Lives Matter guys are out there protesting and the QAnon guys are like fighting with them, but they look up at the big Jumbotron in Times Square, you know, and there's a lot of like slow head nodding going on as they're speaking, and
Yeah.
they're speaking the truth. They're saying we were too far left, you know, those women with the taco truck. That's not cultural appropriation. And then they go with the hard right and they talk about they're just doing it for a payday.
Yeah.
And we're all Americans after all. This, maybe Costner makes an appearance at some point.
I have the Spilkis just hearing this. This is great.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Strong. Did you write that
Patriotic.
down, Chris? It's powerful.
Got it. Oh, and it's Gabourey.
No.
It looks like Gabori.
No. That's how it's spelled. Are you hearing someone say it?
No, I'm looking at a pronunciation.
Yeah, that's how it's spelled. Jesus
Gabourey.
Christ.
Didn't I say it was Gabourey?
But she goes by
That's how
Gabby.
Okay.
Well,
I'm looking at it.
I know,
Gabourey.
but when she was on interviews after Precious came out, they were saying her name was Gabori Sidibe. Why would I have that stuck in my? Maybe I'm insane. It's happened
it's
before.
spelled. It looks like Gabori.
I know.
Has she done much since Precious?
She was on not
Tower
really.
Heist.
She was in Car Wash 3. You didn't catch it?
Was she?
I don't know.
Antebellum.
I didn't think there was a 2. I just thought you'd get suspicious if I said 2, so I jumped ahead.
You really needed 2 to connect 1 to 3 when they went brushless. Otherwise, you're like,
Yeah.
where's the brushes?
Yeah, going brushless and braless and car wash 3. Well, she said, figure out how to pronounce that.
I just know that's how she's been announced on talk shows. Uh-oh, do we have it?
I have Gabourey in my head, so that's my problem. We're going to have to. Do we have her saying it?
Google me wrong, I'm sure.
Incredibly talented actor Gabourey Sidibe earned an Academy.
Gabourey.
Okay, fine. Sure.
Like cabaret.
Yeah. Life is a gabourey.
Mm-hmm.
I think my bumper sticker would read, "You know what you know, unless Adam knows differently." And then you have to stop.
You're not wrong.
Can I tell you about the
just the
bumper
time to
sticker that I
stop.
just made?
Hmm.
I had a bumper sticker made. You can custom make them now. It says, "How's my driving?" And then underneath, I had them print my actual cell phone number. And I slapped that on the back of my car. I got on the 405 South. I started driving like a fucking asshole. And I just waited. And I waited. And my phone rings. I'm like, "How can I help you?" Guy says, "Well, one of your drivers is driving erratically." I said, "Well, I'm very sorry, sir. Now, what kind of car are you driving?" And he tells me. So I look all over the highway. I pull up right behind him. I start honking the horn. I'm like, "You fucking rat.
Wow.
Tattletale.
Good.
Snitches get stitches."
Well done. You got to bump them a little. That's great.
That's a stand-up comedy routine.
That's right out of my routine. But sometimes you shoehorn those babies in. It's the Adam
I
Carolla
do.
show.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I step back. I don't ask questions. I let you get to the punch.
That's like doing radio in the Midwest. It's always like, are you going to go in with, Wacky Billy and the Moondog
Yep.
at 7:10 a.m. after you flew in the night before, and you come in and they're jacked on coffee, and then the producer says before you go on, "Okay, so what are your setups?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like which for your material? Like give us the setup so he can." And all they want to do is say, that like that Byron Allen formula of just like,
Oh.
"So you think goldfish are interesting?" And then you do a goldfish joke.
Oh boy.
I did that Comics Unleashed
Ugh.
13 times.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was next to, well, not next to, but close enough to where I did morning radio. I think they would tape at like noon or 11:30 or something. I would finish doing radio like 10:30, 11 in the morning, and I'd just go, "Yeah, all right." But I didn't have any material or any routine. So
Yeah.
I would just sit there, and then Byron would dish to everyone else and set them all up for their routines. And then all I would do was comment on their routines or do more on their
Right.
routines, but I'd never had any routine to
So you
do.
were essentially writing for the other comedians because they
You
probably
were doing-
used that
I
material.
was
on
doing
their show.
punch up to their
Yeah.
routines. Yeah. All right. You want to try one more? Let's
Sure.
see. Greg up there. Oh, is he up? Wait. Hold on. Sorry. Do this. Oh, too sticky. Greg, 44, New Hampshire.
Yeah, yo. What up, everybody?
Yeah,
Get
guy.
it on, Adam.
Yeah, man. What do you got?
The name of my movie is Homecoming.
Homecoming.
Good luck, everybody.
Thank you.
Cheers.
I think there was a movie with John Holmes called Homecoming.
That's funny.
His biography.
I had I'm not that much into porn etiquette,
Yeah.
but many years ago when they had the VHS tapes, I had the best of John Holmes.
Wow.
Yeah. And the beginning of the best of John Holmes, and maybe you can find this, Chris.
Take your
We
safe
talked
side,
about it maybe a million years ago, but it's just a bad old best of John Holmes movie. Kind of like the very beginning, and you got to realize, like when porn does a set, they did a set of a graveyard.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And a tombstone, but obviously the graveyard was fake grass carpet,
Right.
and the tombstone was styrofoam, had been carved out with a pointy end of the
Right.
toothbrush, and it was like, and the very beginning, as the guy comes out, and he's like, "The great John Holmes, the king, we pay tribute to you today. And I'm like, don't fucking start it in a graveyard. The guy died of AIDS. I'm trying to beat off over here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it. He's gone. He'll be missed.
Yeah.
Why are we starting with the tombstone?
This isn't The Notebook. This isn't some
You're right.
Spielberg movie where you start at the end.
Literally, the first 3 minutes is a guy talking to a tombstone of the legend, John Holmes.
And then each scene you wonder, is he giving her AIDS in this one?
Right. You have to.
Eye AIDS? Is he giving her eye AIDS?
Yes.
And nose AIDS?
Yeah, well, early John Holmes, I don't think you had to speculate about AIDS, but at some point he got a perm. That's all possible AIDS.
That's
he may have
marker.
given her AIDS versions of this. Yeah.
That might be a fetish for some guys. Knowing that somebody's getting a communicable disease through sex.
What a power trip.
Yeah, I mean, this guy did. I'm surprised he didn't bring up the fucking Wonderland murders while he was standing in front of the fucking headstone. Like, what was that, a boner killer?
Right.
I'd like to see this. This is available somewhere?
I think it was like the King, John Holmes, or the legend, whatever. But it definitely started off with a guy talking to a tombstone.
It's funny when you
not an
think
aphrodisiac.
When you think of like the genesis of porn stars and it's female versus male, it's a very different backstory in your head. Like for the girl, it's obviously abuse, poor,
a lot of trauma.
trailer, trauma. For the guy, it's like captain of the lacrosse team, maybe. Had a lot of friends.
Yeah, right.
Big dick.
Yeah.
Everybody
Things are
knew
going
it.
pretty well.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll see if we can find that. All right, so what do you
Either
guys...
way, that's what Homecoming's
Homecoming?
about. Yeah.
All right, let's put a bow on it. Let's bring it home. Do we have an
Adam Carolla will return in Made Up Movie Part 2.
Wonder what that movie's called.
Now, just to be
Best of John Holmes, the legend.
And was it more of like a doc, or was it just a supercut of him jizzing on people?
Supercut of jizzing. You think I'm gonna waste my money on a doc?
That's why I don't understand the beginning. That's why I thought, well, maybe this is like they really tried.
No, it was a supercut of him
can't explain
jizzing on people. But
Please tell me he poured one out over that grave.
I poured some tears out before anything else. Well, we'll see if Chris comes up with it. There used to be another guy back in those 70s called Bobby Hollander Presents. It's another like 70s. They had like porn directors or whatever, and this guy would like sit and he would talk to the camera, and he'd go, I want to introduce you to a new gal. And he'd say like, oh God, he'd just creep you out with like the sideburns and stuff. Like, I don't know why we needed the preamble to the porn.
And nobody wants to see that guy.
Yeah, you can find like Bobby Hollander's greatest hits or something.
You know
too.
why?
It's awesome.
A lot of these are only on DVDs. They're not really streaming, but I did find a Peter North graveyard one.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where the girl is like she's mourning her dead grandmother, and he like comes up and they're looking at the tombstone.
All right, maybe we'll look at that.
Peter North was the guy that was famous for the taste of his semen. And he had concoctions that he would drink before scenes.
Wow.
Yeah, like coconut juice and
Pineapple
different things.
juice.
Pineapple juice was his big thing.
That's a thing.
Really?
I've
Yeah,
heard.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was sort of the he was the Anthony Bourdain of the cum world.
All right, well, we'll see if we can find that. Oh, here it is.
Good.
Yeah, here's the Peter North one.
She's
Digging in the grave in a pantsuit, skirt suit.
the
She's
same
dirty.
same fake grass.
What are you doing there, lady?
Thank God you found me. I was so scared. I was afraid I was going to have to spend the night out here.
What's a girl like you doing in a place like this at this time of night anyway?
I just got in town. I was looking for the grave of my grandmother. She spent her past years in these parts. I was just hoping to pay my respects.
Sounds kind of fishy to me. There's only one grave out here, and there's not a soul in town doesn't know that.
Thank God you found me. You're so big and strong. So afraid.
Hey, the gallon of butterscotch earlier this morning, so be prepared for some toppings on that Sunday.
So attractive.
Oh.
Jeez.
All right, we got it.
Is this where boys learn early and often that grateful equals horny? Like, how can I repay you?
Well, back then, that's all chicks had was a vagina and a mouth.
That's
it's
true.
not like they had Venmo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what money did you guys have?
You're right.
It didn't work.
Whatever my allowance my husband gave me.
You could cook us something.
Yeah.
They couldn't drive Uber.
That's right.
The fat, ugly chicks would go, I'm going to make you a pie, sweetheart. Like, they would bake you something,
Right.
and then the hot chicks would
Drop
fuck
to
you.
their knees, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That was the form of payment.
I get it. Like hots.
It's what you had.
Right.
Now you
All
have
we had to offer.
70% of what we have.
Now, I'm so grateful. Can
So
I do
you
your
could-
taxes?
You could pay us now.
Right.
But back then, you didn't have skill set.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you're ugly or old or fat, you could bake.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're young, you could have sex.
You're right.
And those were the payments.
Oh. Wistful for those days.
Yeah.
I've been working too hard.
Yeah. All right. We'll see if we can find any. You got it. Bobby Hollander. Do you have Bobby Hollander Presents?
I'm looking. You're gonna give
just-
my computer a virus.
You gotta give a picture of Bobby Hollander like in his prime.
So was he the one that would introduce the girl?
Yeah, he would like be sitting there. I mean, if you watch like Boogie Nights, it's all kind of there.
So,
you know?
so what you're saying is he was basically the DJ Khaled of his time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, why was he inserting himself into the scene?
Right. Yeah,
No
we
pun
didn't
intended.
need him there.
Yeah.
And he
Right.
never had sex with anybody.
No, I don't think Bobby Hollander ever had sex with anyone. He would just like introduce it,
Right.
set it up,
We the
talk
best.
about right.
She the
give
best.
some credentials.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Her height
Talk
and
about what
weight.
she would do.
Right.
He'd say, I think I remember one. He'd go, "She's into the big A, and that ain't Aqueduct, fellas. Look at that." I think
Aquanet?
that's what he said, but I can't
Jesus.
remember. All right, we'll take a break. Come back with the news and Bobby Hollander.
We talked about it a little bit at the top, but there's some details we can get into in a little shoot-off story that's kind of interesting. Neil Young has given Spotify an ultimatum: either get rid of Joe Rogan or you remove all my music from your platform. So in a now deleted post on his website, Young asked his managers and record label to remove his music from Spotify because he said the music and podcast platform is spreading fake information about vaccines, potentially causing death to those who believe this disinformation. He summarized it by saying they can have Rogan or Young, not both. This comes on the heel of a group of doctors, 270 doctors, writing an open letter to Spotify to put an end to the lies on Joe Rogan's show. They give a couple examples, and I just kind of cobbled them together. Here's a couple of them. Dr. Peter McCullough, a cardiologist, he claims that COVID-19 vaccines are experimental and the pandemic was planned. Dr. Robert Malone says the public has been hypnotized into mass information psychosis into believing the efficacy of these vaccines, and that the Biden administration is suppressing evidence supporting the efficacy of ivermectin because vaccines will lose their funding. Joe Rogan, he has a $100 million deal with Spotify, and he said on the show, I don't know if this guy's right or wrong. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, that's what you do. And first off, the vaccines haven't been wildly effective in terms of how vaccines are supposed to work. Bryan is triple vaxxed, and he's home right now with COVID. Now, it's
But
better.
he's probably, God willing, not going to be in the hospital.
Yeah. Well, that part'll start to come out a little bit too. Everything gets dealt out incrementally. It's like airlines and the flight delay. It's 20-minute increments will get you to 2-hour delay. You know what I mean? Vaccines were going to save everybody, and now it's like, well, it comes out slowly. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm just saying he's got people on with opinions. A lot of them are doctors, journalists, a lot of people with a lot of real-world experience, and they're sharing their opinions. And then you can hear those opinions, and then you can turn on CNN and you can hear their opinions, and then you can try to figure out whose opinion you like. And sometimes you should take a little from this guy's opinion pile and a little from that gal's opinion pile and make your own opinion.
I think in general, you're absolutely right, and we'd all be more sane if we did that. But what I'm assuming these 270 doctors are saying is that you're basically agitating a public health crisis. Like we're in the middle of it and you're agitating by saying, hey, let them decide. Like these are 270 doctors.
You can look into who those 270 are.
And I'm
They're
curious.
not 270 doctors.
One
There's
of them,
150 lab technicians or whatever.
That's
and
possible.
they had the Great Barrington Proclamation where they had like thousands or hundreds of doctors say, lockdown doesn't work. Why do we ignore all those doctors? Like, this is the problem. Like, these doctors say Joe Rogan's dangerous. We had a whole bunch of doctors saying lockdown, shutting schools, shutting society, fucks kids up, sunshine, fresh air. We need to take the old folks home and cordon it off. We can't shut the schools. But that big group of people never got listened to. They got pulled off the internet.
Yeah.
So it's like, we are way past these experts over here say this, because there's tons of experts that say something else.
Yeah.
You can't shut down the conversation. You just have to have people going, that makes sense and that doesn't make sense, and then act accordingly. I don't get where the suppression part's coming in.
And I'm a big Neil Young fan, and I'm sure Dawson may share my sentiments. Big fan. But I don't think for one second that Spotify's actually weighing this choice of Neil Young music to their $100 million cash cow superstar, Joe Rogan.
Neil Young also has his own music platform.
Oh, that's
paid
right.
subscription platform that you can get everything he's ever done. So he's making a ton of money from that.
I think he went off of them another time or threatened to because he said the sound quality, it really is not good on Spotify. It's heavily, digitized, so it doesn't come through. And I guess his platform is a much richer
His platform
format.
is like,
oh, really?
WAV files uncompressed.
Yeah.
And even the new music he's putting out is being recorded at a bit rate that is exponentially more than the human ear ever needs to hear.
Right.
So wait, is he crazy like a fox? Is this the cash grab to bring everybody over to his platform?
Guys into his Lionel trains.
It just seems like he's just finally getting over the big feud with Leonard Skinner. Now he's starting up another one.
Daryl Hannah coached him up.
Did you hear the John Holmes song, Cumin Girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to live with a cumin girl.
You got to see the spelling of it to really have that joke land. Bobby Hollander, what happened?
There's not a ton.
Died of a broken heart?
Oh, yeah, brain tumor.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
But there's not a ton of stuff on him.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
If you're picturing him at home, he looks a lot like Bobby Slayton. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, the bulldog of porn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's talk hot mics because there's just so many lately. And this was just fantastic.
Love a hot mic.
Oh, yeah. Hot mic caught President Biden expressing his frustration with a Fox News reporter on Monday. Peter Ducey of the Fox News channel was one of several reporters who were shouting questions at Biden as they were kind of ushering everyone out at the White House event on lowering prices for U.S. families. Ducey asked, I'm going to tell you because the audio isn't great. Ducey asked, do you think inflation is a political liability in the midterms? And Biden, who apparently didn't know the mic was on, sarcastically kind of talking to himself, it sounds like, responded like this.
Do you think inflation is a political liability?
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Which is actually great restraint, considering the guy's name is Ducey. He could have called him something else.
That's true.
Could have dropped that Ducey.
Now
you can get to douchey pretty quick from Ducey.
My assumption is that you'd say love it, hilarious, and then hate that, of course, he called within hours to apologize profusely.
No, the part of this story that's interesting is Ducey is the Fox agitator who agitates Biden, and then Biden gets that out of Biden. And then Biden called him like an hour later and said, he didn't really say sorry. He just goes, nothing personal or something like that. And then Ducey was like, this is nice. You call me, a conversation. Fine. No big deal. And I thought, that's the real story. You can do that. He was like, Ducey was like, the president called. He basically apologized, and that was enough of that.
I did not think this was going to be the story that brought the sides together. But that's fantastic on all fronts.
And everyone's going to offend everybody, but at some point you got to go, people out there doing their job. He called, moving on.
Yeah.
Right.
And don't we kind of like Biden at this age and at this point in the game saying something like sort of cutting that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't talking about like cornflake. Yeah, he was like, no, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to be that. This is the game changer for all of us. M&M's getting more attention than they should right now. Let's give them a little more. They're getting a lot of attention over their character's makeover campaign. Mars Incorporated said, "Gone are the green M&M's go-go boots and like sexy sex appeal. Instead," and we have a picture, "she'll be representing confidence and empowerment as a strong female and rocking what fans are calling Larry David sneakers." Green M&M will also become better friends with the other lady, the brown M&M, to showcase a force supporting women. The other colors will also see some notable personality changes. The orange one, who's kind of always anxious and easily agitated, he's going to embrace his true self, worries and all. These are M&Ms.
Imagine what we'd have to do with the fucking 7 dwarves now. Like 3 would have to be transitioning.
Oh, you didn't see Peter Dinklage was on Marin the other day, and I guess they're remaking Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, and he kind of laid into Disney like, hey, this is a fucking 7 dwarves living in a cave together. He goes, can we update your fucking stories a little bit?
Yeah, he had a couple problems with it. He said in another version, like the Bavarian version or whatever, they're thieves, and there's nothing to do with their height, and also that her name is Snow White, and they cast a Latina actress. And he's like, no offense, she's great, but like, what are we doing exactly?
Yeah, well, we're not going to cast her in spick and span. I'll tell you that right now.
No.
Or at least, or maybe she is in the running for spick and span if she's Latina.
Right.
We'll have to work that out.
Yeah.
We'll put that in the breakdowns.
Right.
The breakdowns. Remember the breakdowns?
Remember.
I got the breakdowns.
Yeah.
I got the sides. Where are the breakdowns?
I remember the breakdowns were describing a show, right, and who they were casting on a show. So you would get the breakdown, you'd call your agent, say, can you get me in on this? They'd call, they'd get you in. Then you would drive to Beverly Hills to your agency to pick. There was no fax machines.
Right.
There was no internet. You would pick up the script.
Yeah.
For each audition. And sometimes you had 2 auditions a day during pilot season.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I was in a vague memory of a breakdown of them going an Adam Carolla type that I could have.
Oh boy!
Could have actually auditioned
really?
for. I was in. Well, they always give some names in there, so you go, oh, that type or that personality or that voice.
You know, Danny Bonaducci can one up you on that. Do you remember his story of reading the breakdowns and said Danny Bonaducci type, and then in bold letters, not Danny Bonaducci.
That's funny.
Probably smart.
Max Zapata, there is tape of the, I believe, Australian woman who seems to run the M&M branch of Mars or whatever, giving a speech about, how they're making it empowering and inclusive or whatever.
Goody.
And it's so insane. Now, I'm a babe in the woods here. It seems insane. On the other hand, is they've gotten more free publicity out of taking go-go boots off of an animated character and putting her in flats than you could. Literally hundreds of millions of dollars of airtime on talk radio, Fox radio, morning radio.
Product placements.
Literally just put the boots. They just went, what we're going to do? We're going to dress these
thing that you never thought about before
differently. And next thing you know, in a slow news cycle,
we'll take it.
It's been going on for 6 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're driving, you listen to AM radio on the ride. Coming up next, they're rebranding. It's like, how much M&M?
Yeah.
I mean, millions and millions of dollars in prime, highly viewed shows, and you're getting your shit talked about. Now,
it was the same thing with Trump candidacy.
Right.
That's all we did.
That's all you had to do. But now this is that's marginally different. And this is all you have to do is go, why don't we do this kind of fake woke thing for this? And then we'll get tons of fucking publicity.
Mm-hmm.
I think this must be a thing now.
Yeah, because we do hear about it a lot. But you do run the risk of looking like a total asshole. I mean, I wonder if Christy has thoughts on that, because you don't look good.
Well, was it in response to a group complaining about the go-go boots, or did they come forward and make a mea culpa out of nowhere?
They came out of nowhere with this, and it was perfect fodder for morning shows.
It's so good
drive
for
time
morning
shows.
Yes.
And then, of course, the outrage, the Fox side of it's like, Jesus Christ, everything's got to be woke. I can't buy my kid a pack of goddamn M&Ms without some sort of cultural thing going on. Like, I've got to... It's perfect.
Yeah.
And they got
Everybody.
millions. They got tons. I don't know how you would calculate it, but it would be into the hundreds of millions of dollars of just free airspace for the product.
And Aunt Jemima did that too, right?
Yep.
Right.
And then there was another one, Uncle Ben's.
Uncle
rice?
Ben's, yes.
Yeah.
Remember, because we talked, and how that actually ended up backfiring
Yes,
because
it
those
did.
were like really wonderful people they were trying to highlight.
Yeah.
And when it comes to either M&M's or Chick-fil-A, there is no bad publicity.
Yeah.
There's just you going, Chick-fil-A? Fuck yeah. What'd they do? Well, they said they're not going to serve Jews or black people anymore.
Is that good?
Chick-fil-A's so good, though, dude.
Are they still serving white people?
Chick-fil-A. like same with M&M's. Like food, there's no bad.
Yeah.
You can boycott. Look, when I was a kid, we boycotted grapes. You can live without grapes.
Yeah.
You could boycott a certain airline because there's 89 other airlines you can fly, whatever, but you can't do candy.
Yeah. Good luck with the impulse buy section.
We have Bobby Hollander from 1983.
Oh, thank God.
He's at the height of his powers.
I think, yeah, this is the
From
Shauna Grant movie that he directed called The Personal Touch.
Mm.
From Spank Bang.
Hi. You thought it was Alfred, but it's not. My name is Bobby Hollander, and I'd like to introduce you to a tape called The Personal Touch. Now, The Personal Touch is something different in home entertainment. It's strictly adult, strictly X, and it's hot. It's so hot, it's going to blow your balls off. It's going to want to make you wet your panties. It's going to want to make you reach in and grab it. It's going to want to make you come right on your television screen. The Personal Touch means personal touch. It stars Shauna Grant, Sharon Mitchell,
Killed herself.
Paul Thomas, Ron Jeremy, Dominique, a newcomer to the screen, Gene Hollow. The Personal Touch was shot on videotape to give you the finest quality in adult entertainment. It's going to let you, the home viewing audience, get out of your bed, off your couch, out of the bar, and you guys that are watching it in a bar are going to be into the bathroom in a minute.
I feel like he's threatening us.
I don't mean to say it in an obscene way.
Oh.
But we wanted to make it that way. Shauna Grant in this film, whose stars you've seen in Penthouse, you've seen in Swank, High Society, Chic, Hustler, Velvet. You've jerked off to her in Genesis and Gallery. She's gorgeous. She's young. She's blonde.
Does he have a camera in my house?
She has a body that'll blow you away. She's going to tell you how you can write to her personally.
He's a
and get
national
a free
treasure.
I'm
black
seeing
and
that.
white, personally autographed photo of her just by sending your name and address. It's no hope, it's no joke. And we know the Personal Touch is hot. Ladies, go out. I hope you have new batteries for your vibrator. Husbands, whip 5 on yourself. Do it lubricated. But this tape is designed to make you want to do it. It's directed to you. We hope you blow your nuts off because it was made that way. And before I blast off my mouth and go any further, let me introduce you to one of the stars in the business, Miss Shauna Grant.
Well, first off, just pause it for a second. Okay.
Jesus.
First off, did I undersell this guy at all?
No. I know
At
who,
all.
Vinny should be
1
in for
ounce.
Halloween.
It's the creepiest man ever born. And it's like, we get it, Bobby Hollander. You direct porn, but we shouldn't be able to tell from outer space. Like, he's got the shirt undone to the navel. He's got that great... He's got the 70s/80s, just big dry mop with the pork chops and the gold.
Yep.
Teeth
hanging
are a
down.
little crooked, little yellow.
And the creepiest thing of all, which is bizarre sincerity.
Yeah.
Not even false.
Yeah.
Just like bizarre
Yeah.
Selling it.
sincerity. Like really looking into that lens.
He looks like what I feel like when I just finished jerking off and I've got a load on my stomach and I'm ashamed of myself.
Right, that's
and
what
I
you feel
dirty.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God
Sorry.
damn.
Shauna Grant killed herself. And,
Yeah, so he managed Shauna Grant, like kind of discovered.
well, nice
the
job
porn name.
with her career.
Jesus.
Killed herself after a
Shot
car
herself with
accident.
an AR-15.
But you're
Yeah.
but you're gonna want to jerk off on your TV. That's a guy you don't go to Monday Night Football at his house.
I like when
How
the
come
guy
the players
gets on
are
a
all
roll.
fuzzy?
I like when the guy gets on a roll too. He's like, "Hey, if you're in your bedroom, you're in your den, bar, synagogue, AIDS hospice, you're gonna want to grab yourself a closet." Maybe I was like, well, Bobby, first off, okay, my wife's got the vibrator. I got my hand on my cock. Why don't we make a peanut butter cup here? Like, why are you getting her with the vibrator and me beating off in the same house?
Yeah, and new batteries.
Should I make sweet love to my wife? All right, wait. He invites Shauna Grant in, who killed herself a year and a half later with an AR-15.
How you doing? Thanks for the intro. Bobby told you that you can write to me, and I would love it if you wrote to me. I will send you a picture, and I will autograph it. The address I would like you to send your name and address to is Kincaid, Kincaid, 18653.
I like the accompaniment with the piano.
Ventura Boulevard, Suite 3.
Could have put that in post.
Yeah.
I like the
Tarzana,
picture of just
California.
being there.
The zip code is 91356.
Oh, you can write to Tarzana.
Not only will I send you a black and white photograph, but I would like to hear your comments on the video. Then maybe we can come back and see you again.
Oh boy.
Thanks.
But before we go any further,
Uh-oh, Bob's got more.
Shauna's going to make sure that you see this film crispy and crunchy. What? Loosen your tie. Kick off your shoes. Maybe they should unzip the pants. Drop your pantyhose, ladies. Because Shauna's going to clean off your TV screen. She's going to dust it off. So don't get up for a minute. If you have to pee, if you have to eat, shut the tape right now and then put it back on. Because this is a tape you see from beginning to end. And we know a lot of people out there never get to the end. But shit, you'll be watching it once, twice, 3 times. You're gonna love it. It's hot. It's a stroker. Now let Shauna dust off your TV screen so you don't miss a thing.
All right. Jesus
Dust
Christ.
it off. How about mop it off? You've been jerking off on it.
Is he the creepiest man ever born?
Yeah. And he's also robbed by John Holmes. He tells a story about being robbed by John Holmes.
Really?
Yeah. So in King Dong, Hollander describes being introduced.
By the way, I'm not nearly done with this man's body of work. 'Cause he set up every porn movie with him doing the crazy, creepy scat. That
So
he's,
yeah, this wasn't a one-off.
well, no, not that. I didn't have a VCR
Right.
or a porn movie, but my friend's dad did, and we had the Bobby Hollander movie. And I liked free porn, but I also had an eye on comedy when I was, 17 and a half. And I liked the comedy of the Bobby Hollander sort of palate cleanser at the top, before we got into the meat and the potatoes.
Right.
It was Shauna Grant, who drove her Corvette into a parked car like on Mulholland, got in a car accident, dated Pauly Shore or something.
What?
And then killed herself with a bullet to the head.
But thanks for
Probably
going so
in
well.
85. Yeah.
84.
84?
Yeah.
This is 83.
Yeah.
She's at the height of her powers here.
Jesus, that's so sad.
I know.
God. I mean, there's something so vulnerable about her.
I know.
There was something so sweet.
I know. That was the attraction. That was the part.
Yeah.
That's
The
why
girl
they
next
loved
door.
it. Yeah.
In this movie, he actually comes back to introduce Ron Jeremy.
Oh, okay. Well, now we got to watch.
Yeah, all right.
She's coming back.
Can you leave up the sidebars of the fake vaginas on the
thumbnail,
fake cocks? That is the worst part about watching porn is what they show you on the side.
What the personal touch is all about. Shauna and I would like to introduce
Shauner.
the first scene in this film. It stars Ron Jeremy, superstar in the business, if you've probably seen in quite a few features. And a newcomer in the business, Misty Dawn. Ron Jeremy is going to take his 10.5-inch cock
Put it into a cellmate.
and stick it in Misty Dawn's pink, tight asshole.
Is it tight?
So if you stay tuned and stay into this tape, the next scene you'll see will be Ron Jeremy and Misty Dawn. We hope you enjoy it.
We know you will.
It's not going to be tight when Ron's done.
It's the creepiest.
Yeah.
I got to take a rape shower, and I don't even shower.
Yeah.
I don't mean to put this on him, and I don't mean to disrespect him in any way, but that's Vinny.
Vinny Tortorich.
You see it, right?
Yeah. But then you get into those, when you go for the person, you go for the deep cut for Halloween, and you don't walk in a party and have a bunch of people go, it's Bobby Hollander. Then you have to do that cop-out thing where you make the T-shirt that has Bobby.
Hi, my name is
a porn director, and then
Yeah.
that's a cop-out
Yeah.
because we should know who you are.
Yeah. Well, he's safe then.
So now, Chris, we're just going to need a new cut every show, Bobby
I know.
Hollander.
I'm going to have to buy some DVDs.
He's awesome, man.
I think if you went to Halloween with a girl dressed as her, people would get it.
At least, like, are you a porn director?
Yeah.
What was his story? Like, he had to come out from the East Coast. He had to be
Brooklyn.
to be an assistant for Charles Bronson in the 60s or something. Like, he's got something crazy. His dad wanted him to go into the church or something like that. There's just got to be
He got
something.
snubbed by Roger Corman or somebody.
Right.
He got shut down by the business, and so he found his own way.
I love that.
Oh.
Please be true.
He is everything that is porn, that is the San Fernando Valley, that is the late 70s, early 80s. He's all of that in one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Boogie Nights, like, they knew about him, right?
I love Paul Thomas Anderson, but all you do is watch that stuff and you go, oh, this is perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
get the wig.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Oh my God. The monologues are just like outstanding.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like they
He was
were
probably a groundling before he got into porn.
I buy that. I do, because I do feel it was free form. He was just talking from his heart.
Shauna was yes-anding.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 If he was alive, he'd have a very big podcast right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Neil Young would want his shit pulled down.
Absolutely.
What's his story?
Not much. Yeah, before porn, he was just born in 29, got into porn in 1970.
Oh,
1970.
He was
Perfect,
49.
perfect porn year to get into.
He is credited for being a pioneer of the shot-on-video porn movie.
Mm-hmm.
And known for discovering and managing Shauna Grant.
And did he direct? So I guess he directed too.
I don't. 59 movies between 79 and 95.
And then left us far too soon.
59 movies.
Right.
Wow, that's about $59,000 he made in his lifetime.
But wait, did I hear that right? That he was born in 29 and didn't get into porn until 70?
Yes.
So what was he doing for 41 years? This guy's mysterious.
This is why we have to explore. And didn't Pauly Shore date Shauna Grant?
How old is Pauly Shore?
He's like 55, something like that.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, we'll
Maybe
figure
57.
it out. All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Yeah, my eyes don't lie.
We're looking at the great Bobby Hollander. Oh, by the way, is Bobby Hollander's last name even Hollander? Maybe.
Hollenstein.
Yeah, it could be a Berg or Steen or Green or something that got lopped off.
His birth name is Ira Allen Sachs.
There we go.
Oh, now
There we
we're
go.
talking. Let me say something about the Jews. They don't normally go creep, but when they do go creep, they go fucking hard.
Full throttle.
They're like the Asians. Like they pretty much stay in their lane, or they slam that Acura and spike that hair and get into a whole bukkake scene. Like once they go fucking hard.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I mean, between Ira Hollander over
Sax.
here and Ron Jeremy, those are like the two Jews of porn,
That's all
and
you
that
need to
one
know.
full creep, full
Oh,
hard.
and who was the guy in New York who was on public access? It was Robin Bird, and then there was a guy who was like the guy in porn in New York.
Well, that will be for another day because
Okay.
I cannot remember that guy's name, but I'm good. Yeah.
And you're confusing Shauna Grant for Savannah.
What? Oh, Savannah dated.
That's who dated Pauly Shore and shot herself after a car accident.
Oh, Savannah did that.
Yeah.
But Shauna Grant just shot herself plain old, didn't get in the car accident or
Right.
date Pauly Shore.
How dare you?
Correct.
I was way off on that one. All right. Well, we need more Bobby Hollander. You guys can go to adamcarolla.com for all the live shows. Doing a couple shows at the Bray Improv coming up on February 6th. Bill Shatner is going to be up on stage with me. Dennis Quaid as well. We got live shows. Tacoma, and Waukegan, and Spokane. Just go to Kansas City. Go to adamcarolla.com. Fitz Dog doing live shows everywhere as well. Syracuse coming up. Funny Bone this Friday and Saturday. Lexington, Kentucky, comedy off Broadway, February 24th through the 26th. Omaha, Nebraska, Waiting Room, The Waiting Room, February 27th. Tickets and more dates at his website, fitzdog.com. And until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Fitzdog and Gina and Bald and Dr. Drew and Bobby Hollander saying mahalo.
Why would I have that stuck in my... Maybe I'm insane. It's happened
It's
before.
spelled it looks like a boy.
I know.
Has she done much since Precious?
She was on... Not
Power
really.
High. She was in Car Wash 3. You didn't catch her?
Was she?
I don't know.
Antebellum.
I didn't think there was a 2. I just thought you'd get suspicious if I said 2.